going to have to wake up, because they really don't realise that support for them is hemorrhaging very, very badly here in the southwest, particularly after the latest series of events. I think it's absolutely disgusting that the mess the government's in, whereas good old Maggie was a bulldozer. I'm afraid Mr Major comes out as a very poor flyweight by comparison.
In terms of party discipline, you mean? Or
sorry?
In terms of party discipline?
Yes, certainly, yes. He's just too weak, much too weak, and people down here know this, and if he thinks he's going to win the next general election, I'm afraid he's really kidding himself, because he's going to have to really put his party together if he wants to win.
You have campaigned for the party in the past,
I have,
yeah.
Yes.
Do you find that these sexual incidents are embarrassing for you, that people throw them back at you on the doorstep?
Absolutely, totally. I mean, it's just so embarrassing. I mean, for top ministers in the government to get themselves into such embarrassing situations it just makes Great Britain look so silly.
Thank you very much indeed. Let's go on quickly to George Davis in Nottingham. Hello.
Good evening to you. The government has blown it. They are finished by the ordinary working people in this country. We were supposed to have reached an economic miracle under Thatcher. Many of us now know it was no miracle, it was a mirage. And it was an economic mirage or miracle, depending on how you look on it, for which we have been paying very heavily for the last 3 to 4 years. I am a hard-working, self-employed manufacturer's agent in the clothing industry, and I want to tell you our industry is in total disarray because of the recession. Millions of people on ordinary wage levels are not spending money because they don't have it anymore.
Right.
They're facing increased taxes.
Thank you very much indeed. I think we know about the economy. Well, 2 points there. The first point, that John Major simply isn't strong enough to lead the country and isn't inspiring his party workers. And it's noticeable that in his recent speeches he's tried very much to pitch it at party workers. So obviously he feels the need for their support.
Well, yes, Mrs Rose actually said that the government was going to have to wake up because they're going to lose the election. I think the government is certainly very well aware of the possibility of this, and if they are not, the Tory MPs are. I mean, they're all looking at their majorities and wondering whether they're going to be there next time and when next time's going to be, because some of them fear that it might be around the corner, I think.
Second point there on the economy, interesting point, because Mr Major sees the economy now as his escape card, because it's improving. Mr Davis clearly disagrees. Well,
the economy is about the only thing that John Major's actually got going in his favour at the moment. I mean, there is actually a plus sign round the corner. I mean, we appear to be rounding the corner out of the recession, although Mr Davis may quite rightly wonder whether or not it's feeding through down to business itself. But it is obviously something that Mr Major would rather people thought about than about the private lives of his members of Parliament.
Would it be your guess that if the growth returns at the sort of levels predicted by the government, that in fact they would find themselves out of trouble?
It would be my guess that they wouldn't, no. I think they're in too big trouble to get out of it.
Let's go to Bill Hughes in Glasgow. Hello.
Good evening, Julia, Adam. I think John Major must be really sick with his back to basics. I mean, every time he said it or something happened, and it just makes me sick today when watching Westminster, when the two Labour MPs, the lady MPs asked him about the £10 million payout the Rover chairman was getting, and he gave some reply which wasn't quite a good reply, and I just feel sick. Another point is, I think Portillo has blackened his copybook the other day there. I mean, I think he would have been the next Prime Minister, but he blackened his copybook the other day when he made the statement about the A-levels and everything else. So I just think it's time for a complete change in government.
Them to go into free fall, so it's got to be bad news for John Major.
I don't believe